In this video, we're going to do a self-awareness deep dive for leaders. Hi, I'm Ron with Lead Skill, and we help leaders grow further with emotional intelligence. So I've done other videos on self-awareness and emotional intelligence for leaders, and you can check that out on a playlist I put together up here. And one of the things that I really wanted to establish in this video is really the case for why we need greater self-awareness, and then to explore some of the main sources, how you can take a deep dive and really go a lot further in growing your self-awareness as a leader. So first of all, the case. Why do we need more self-awareness? First of all, leaders are in a unique place where they have, I would say, an outsized role or impact on the people and the organizations around them, the organizations that they lead in. And because of that fact, when a leader is out of alignment, whenever a leader is off kilter, they're going to have a ripple effect on the people in the organization around them. And so that is one of the reasons that we really need to pay attention. The opposite of self-awareness is self-deception, or just being, deluding ourselves and not having the correct beliefs about who we really are, how we're made up, how we react, and not really being able to see ourselves like a mirror reflection around us 24/7. When we are deceiving ourselves, the problem with that is that we think that we're doing a great job, or that we're leading other people and we're all on the same page and we're moving in lockstep toward our goals, and yet that is not what is happening. And unless we have good sources of feedback, unless we can really we can test reality and get a chance to see whether my view of the situation really lines up with what other people around me see and what the environment is telling us as feedback, then my lack of self-awareness is going to lead us astray. And we're not going to have the results that we need as a team, as an organization. And you can see effects of this, whether it's on the country level, on the organizational level, on the team level. Whenever leaders lack self-awareness, we often kind of get by, we bumble around and we get through it. But sometimes there's spectacular failures, and there's times that it just blows up in our face. And then we're wondering what happened. Well, self-awareness is often to blame. The strange thing is, whenever we lack self-awareness, we're often the last one to be clued in and to know, there's bad news and no one was telling me about it. How come no one told me? Sometimes I hear leaders say that. And so let's jump into the deep dive about self-awareness. Now, I've mentioned in other videos what self-awareness is. It's really being able to understand and recognize, well, first of all, to recognize, and then to understand our moods, our emotions, our drives, and how they affect other people around us. So self-awareness is not just purely about how well I see myself. It's also about being clued into how other people see me. So there's two aspects of self-awareness. There's the internal view. It's how well I can see into my own makeup, my personality, but also how well I'm tuned into how other people see me. That's external self-awareness. And that's the critical part that I find a lot of leaders overlook. They think that they can just get self-aware by doing journaling a lot, or doing a lot of introspection, or doing meditation. All those are great practices. I did 360. I've done 360 feedback, many times, Ron, I hear leaders say. And so they think they have a lot of self-awareness. And compared to the average person, maybe they do have a little more self-awareness, but they're just skimming the surface. Whenever you realize how deep self-awareness goes. The psychologist Dan McAdams actually helped us back in the 1990s when he explained, very helpfully I would say, that personality can actually be divided into 3 different levels. And they're not in a hierarchy, but they are on 3 different levels, and they kind of operate by their own set of rules, depending on which level you're talking about. So First of all, the one level that we all kind of access and that we use, even if we don't have a very detailed language about it and an in-depth description of it, is what McAdams calls base traits. Now, these are the sort of things that you notice first off when you meet a stranger, when you meet someone that you don't know very well, and you just pay attention and you kind of catalog and notice, oh, okay, this person's friendly, or this person's not so friendly, this person's reserved, or wow, that guy is very analytical, or she is just, she's very bubbly, or she's very stern. I mean, you don't mess around with her. And so it's the sort of adjectives you would use to describe someone. Now, psychologists organize this into a body of description. And the most popular personality theory that has gained a lot of consensus is Big Five. And you can Google it and look into it if you want to learn more about Big Five. I personally prefer Hexaco, which is a form of Big Five, which has been internationally studied. And it's been found that there's a sixth element. There's not just Big Five, there's Big Six. And that sixth element makes a big difference. And it kind of helps us understand those leaders who go against the stereotype, go against the norm. People often wonder, why are they so effective? Because they don't look like leadership material. And yet, they're clearly a good leader. And Hexaco actually helps with us understanding that sixth element. So I'm going to leave that there. But base traits are universal. They're things that we can just access and see, even if we have very little knowledge of another person. The second level of personality are your personal concerns. Now, these include a wide range of things: defense mechanisms, your driving forces, some of the skills, things that depend on the context, even depend on the time in life that we're currently experiencing. And so they change over our lifetime. The same person may show up very differently in a social setting versus a work setting, or even in different social settings, whether it's like, if you're mixing at a party or if you're with family or relatives. And so the level of personal concerns is very broad. To really know someone at this level means that you're starting to get to know them as a person and not just relating to them like you might a stranger. So base traits is really helpful for describing people that you don't know so well. But it has limits to it, and it only goes so far. Personal concerns fills in a lot of nuance, and it goes deeper into understanding a person in all the different contexts, in all the different times, and over a lifetime, what they exhibit in terms of their personality, their behavior, their values, their motivations. And so when I describe things like defense mechanisms, or your driving forces, or the domain-specific skills and abilities that you have honed and developed, those are the sort of things that you will notice and that come out for this level of personal concerns. Now, the third level is what McAdams calls life story. And this is not something that everyone really develops. It's really your personal narrative. It's taking your past, your present, and your future and integrating it into a whole, into a meaningful story that explains, that describes, that gets into what your life is all about. And so your life story is not exactly the same thing as the biography, but it's really kind of your autobiography and how you make sense of your life put into a narrative form. And so it's not just the details of like where you were born, where you grew up, but it's taking those details, those facts, and putting them into a story that you tell yourself and other people that really get to the core of who you are, what you're about, what kind of person you are, and the unique individual that you are. So base traits, personal concerns, life story. I find that these three levels of personality that Dan McAdams has shared with us really help us see personality in a much deeper and much broader framework. And for leaders who are trying to grow their self-awareness, it's really important to look at each one of these domains or areas, these different levels, in order to really better understand yourself. And so the internal self-awareness, but also to make better sense of how other people see you and realizing how they're relating to you. Is it someone who doesn't know you that well? And are they probably commenting on your base traits? Or is it someone who knows you a lot better and we're talking about some of the specific areas of personal concerns? Or is it someone who's actually helping you in crafting your life story, or that is a key person in your life story? It's a partner with you in life. It's maybe a family member, a very close relationship. It's someone that has had a great influence and an impact on you. And so I want you to be thinking about these things. I found it very helpful. These are the sort of things that I like to explore with clients in coaching relationships and in also classes about understanding myself, my purpose, helping leaders grow in their self-awareness. So if you're interested to know more about that, make sure you subscribe to our channel and check out more of what we have to offer at leadskill.com.